start coughing really loud.
I know.
Sneeze.
Like, not a nice quiet one, but like a big one.
We did not claim to be ladylike.
Not one bit.
I don't know which camera to look at.
I'm gonna go cross-eyed and read it.
That way. Hey, this is Anna Woods with SheSTRENGTH Live. Glad to have you guys here today. Today's going to be a fun interview. I have my pal Raven here. I feel like most of you follow us on social media, see her and I are working out in our videos, especially on Instagram. So I thought it would be fun to get together and share with you a little bit about how we got together, how our workouts go with live family kids, and kind of with what strength training and weightlifting has done for each of us in our lives individually. So welcome.
Thank you.
I'll preface, we work out in our garages when it's really cold, so we're both fighting colds and all the fun stuff going around, so heads up on any sneezing or coughing that may occur. But anyway, I shared on Facebook the other day because I had people ask me all the time, like, how Raven and I met or how we started working out together in our garages. And we actually met at a competition a few years ago in McPherson. I was living there at the time, and you were competing in a comp. She was there in a partner comp with her gym at the time, and I just came in with my kids to watch because it was a local comp at a gym close to me, so I wanted to come watch and follow along. I had my kids because my husband was working that day, and her partner ended up getting injured partway through the day, and she wanted to finish out the workouts. And so I remember she came up in the stands and was like, "Hey, I know you work out around here. Would you want to finish the day out with me and be my partner?" I was like, what am I gonna do with my kids? And I didn't have anything with me. And so we had to get approval from the host and the judges that it would be okay for me to fill in, because I'd already worked out that day, so technically it was kind of somewhat an even fill, but she got approval, and so I ran home, grabbed some lunch, got some pre-workout, put on my shoes, grabbed a belt, and came back, and one of the girls that was at the comp said, "Hey, I'll corral your kids for you, go do your event." So I think it was a running event. I remember I ran out on the floor and I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but let's go. And the rest was kind of history from that. We completed 2 events, and then I ended up having to leave because my husband had to do something, so I had to be home. But you ended up having to finish the event by yourself, the partner event at the end by yourself, which had snatches and muscle ups in it. So anyone that knows those 2 movements knows those are not easy. I remember sitting on social media later like, oh no, I thought I had helped you finish out the day, and then you had to do one more workout by yourself. But I remember one clear thing with that was we were getting ready to leave, and I remember you running over, and I was walking out with my kids, and you like got down on your knees. You were like, "Thank you guys for letting your mom compete with me today," and told them that they behaved really well, and that you had kids yourself. And I just remember thinking in my mind that spoke a lot about who you were, and having your own kids and understanding that. So, but I think it was probably a year then before we got in connection about working out at home.
Yes.
We had moved here then. We moved to Hutch at the time, which is where you live. But before we get into that, step back a little bit and tell us a little bit about yourself. So you were born in Tennessee, or you were raised there?
Tennessee is like my home. I was born in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. Didn't live there very long. I spent a lot of time in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and then transferred back to Tennessee. And so, yeah, Tennessee is my home. Sorry, I like it a little bit better.
But you played sports growing up, right? Like,
yes.
What all did you do?
A little bit of everything, from basketball, volleyball, track, cross country, gymnastics, diving when I was younger. And so track seemed to be where I was going to get the most money to go to college. And so that was kind of where I put my focus on.
What distances, or?
Everything from the 100-meter hurdles up to, I think it was like the mile in high school, and then in college I ran anything from the 400 to a 5K on the track, which I only did once.
No thanks. We laugh about how our perspectives change now, because she went from running every day, all the time, to now when we see running in a workout, we're like, ugh, who wants to do that? But so talk about where you went to college. Because you moved back here then eventually to Kansas, right?
Yes. When I moved back to Kansas, I started at Washburn. They didn't have a track team. I just went to school and I worked a lot. Eventually, with 2 small children, I needed to have a school that I could do online so that I could still work and still go to school. And so Fort Hays offered online education, and they also had a track team. And so I filled out the form, but we were living in Kansas City at the time. And I remember the head cross-country coach contacted me, and he was like, well, I don't think there's anything in the NCAA rules that says that you can't compete and not live on campus if you're a full-time student. And so I started training on my own, and I would just meet them at the meets. And my first year I was a walk-on. My last 2 years I was on scholarship. And so, I think that was the moment I transitioned from sports being something that could get me to another level to competing for myself, because there wasn't any expectations my first year. I wasn't getting paid for it. It was just something that I truly loved to do, which was just to compete, whether it be running or lifting a barbell now. So
yeah. And we both laugh all the time about how we're competitive. That's why we do well together when we compete. People don't understand it sometimes. But so talk to me a little about, you ran cross country, you ran track, and then you talk to us about how you kind of got into weightlifting. Because I know you talk about what you weighed. What'd you say, you weighed like 105 pounds or something when you were running?
Yeah, when I was running, I think the heaviest I ever got to was like 117. And I couldn't put on weight, and which was good for long distance running. When I moved to Dodge City and started teaching up there while I was still finishing my degree, one of the guys that I worked with said, hey, you should join our CrossFit gym. I think you would really enjoy it. And so I kept telling him no. For like months, I'd be like, who wants to do 100 pull-ups and then go run? I was like, that sounds horrible. And he finally convinced me. He was like, you can try it for a week free. And I was like, oh, okay. And I went in and did their little on-ramp class, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, not only do I get to compete with myself, but everybody else around me. And I'd never really picked up a barbell before, because being a runner, it's mostly dumbbells and these huge machines that do everything for you. And so
tell me a little bit about looking back then when you were running compared to now. Like, how's lifting weights like helped you as an athlete, as a mom? Like, what does weightlifting mean to you from then, like, as you move forward?
It's everything. The days that I feel like not so good, think of a word for it. The days that I feel awesome, there's something about going in my garage and picking up heavy weights and surpassing things that I couldn't do. Like when I first started, 85 pounds was probably my max on a clean, on a snatch. And like, I was lucky if I didn't throw my back out, like, because I had no idea what I was doing. I was brand new to it. So now 85 pounds is a warm-up weight for me. And I don't know. It's hard to describe in words, and so that's why I always just tell people, like, just go pick something up and put it down. And do it multiple times.
Yes. That's one thing I was telling, I think Jessica before we got on here was, I feel like we've worked out enough now because it's been a couple years, but sometimes we'll get together and we'll talk about the workout and we're like, all right, let's do it, and we plan it all out and we do it. And then some days we walk in there and kids have been sick, or we've been sick, or you've worked, or I've had a stressful day, and we kind of just look at each other, start the timer, and then nothing else needs to be said. We just do it. But weightlifting for both of us has meant a lot as far as being a better mom, better employee, athlete, less stress, more patience. And then you have a daughter and I have 2 daughters, and so there's a whole presence of showing our kids what strength means and what being strong means. So a lot of times when we work out, especially, that the other thing that drew us together was that our kids are very similar ages. In fact, our oldest are only a day apart, but they're always running around while we work out. They're either out there asking us a million questions while we're trying to breathe, or they're fighting over something. Or they're outside playing, but they get to see what we're doing, get to be a part of what we're doing, and I think it's really cool to be able to give them the gift of fitness and health, and especially our girls, the understanding of being strong. So I know you said Reese had a play date and her friend wanted to work out. That was one of the things she wanted to do.
Yes, that was one of the things. They hounded me the whole day about it. with you? When do we get to work out with you? And I love it. I mean,
Right.
that's all they wanted to do. I mean, yeah, they tried to make slime and other things, but like,
Yeah.
they were in and out of the garage all day long, and yeah.
That's how my kids have friends over too. Can we go to your barn? We want to go play in your barn. I'm like, hey, if that's what I'm known as is the workout mom, and the kids want to play workouts with me, I won't complain about that. But all right, so flash forwarding now. I know I reached out to you the very first time after working out, and I was nuts at the time because I didn't know about your running background. But I was like, hey, let's go to the track. Do you want to do a workout? Not knowing you're like 5-minute mile pace, but that was like a year or so later. We started working out, and you had taken on a new job, and so you put a home gym in your garage to be able to work around your crazy schedule at that point. And what were the first things you started with in your garage gym? Do you remember what you had?
It was just, I got it from Rogue. I put it on a credit card, and I was like, hopefully my overtime picks up a lot, and it sure did. It was just a barbell, and then 245s, 235s, 225s, and 2 10-pound plates, and that's all I had, and so that's what I worked with for probably about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And now I look in my garage and I'm like,
A full-blown gym.
it's a full-blown gym, and I love it.
Those of you that know us very well, we laugh because we're like, all right, for Christmas, you get this barbell, I'm gonna get this bike, you get that mat, I'm gonna get these dumbbells, and like we try to make sure we have everything that we need for all the different fun events that we like to compete in. But that's the Christmas, birthday, gift card things we shop for. Outside of having a slight obsession with Savage Barbell, sports bras, and shorts.
Yes.
If there's a sale, her and I are both typing away who's gonna buy what. But I know, let's see. I was trying to think back, so I was gonna ask you this, and I can't even think. I swear we say every workout we do is the hardest one we've done, but
Yes.
I was trying to think about some of the worst ones we've done, and I know different parts play into it, because like recently the worst part, at least out my house, has just been the cold.
Yes.
Like you were saying a minute ago, you go up to do a pull-up and you hope your hands don't freeze to the bar, or you breathe in the cold air, so then you're coughing a lot. But and then in the summer it's the opposite, where you're really
So
hot and soaking wet, and you can't hang on to a barbell because you're so sweaty. But I was trying to think of some of the worst workouts we've done. I know when we competed at Junction City, that 4 series was probably one of the hardest ones we've done together.
Yes.
We compete a lot too, so we work really well together because she's taller and thinner, and so she does really good with the bodyweight movements, and I'm a little shorter and squattier, so I do more of the barbell movements. So when we meet at a comp, we work really well together because our weaknesses and strengths complement each other. But we did one this summer that had 4 workouts that you did back to back to back, and I think I remember texting you next day like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to walk for a week.
Yeah.
Because my legs were so sore. But other than that, I was trying to think. There's been a few, like the bike at first was really hard.
Yeah.
The assault bike.
I still don't think we've figured that one out yet. Anything with the bike, anything that mixes cardio and heavy weights, it really tests, because we can't hide from our weaknesses.
Right. Yeah. And it hits both of our weaknesses. So we discussed physical benefits, both being in the best shape of our lives now, because I know we talk about that all the time. Man, if we would have taken strength training serious in college. She ran track, I played softball, and I remember thinking, weight training, whatever. I did weight training in high school, and I knew how to do it, and I was familiar with it, but I really wasn't passionate about it, and loved it as much as I do now. And seeing how much better I move now, and even you maintained your
there's always
speed
this
even
like
too.
dark horse around it for females, because
Yeah.
even in high school you go in there and you have your football players and you have, some of your basketball players in there, and they're all guys, and so I think especially being in high school you're kind of like
Right.
no, not today.
Right. Well, and the football coaches used to tend to run the weight room, and so you either had to jump in with the guys and throw all inhibition to the wind, or you just didn't. And so I know I didn't have the confidence that much in high school or college to butt in and work out with the football players. But I know we touched on this a little bit, but talking about how these workouts help you mentally, emotionally, as a mom and with your job. I know for me, it's just a stress reliever. Like, there's this part of being able to go out there and just throw it all out on the floor, whether it's working through something really hard I couldn't do before, or, I mean, there's been times where I've gone out there and, like, just started working out and, like, tears just flowing, because it's just this cleansing, stress relief. I don't know, it's hard to describe it. Like you said, you almost have to experience it, but it's a relief for us, both of us. We talk about how at least my husband's always like, have you worked out today? Maybe you should go work out today. Usually that's a sign that I need to get out.
That's what my kids say all the time. Did you not get your lunch break today? You weren't able to work out. Go work out, Mom.
Right. You'll come back in much more patient. And I know, like, you and I are both really energetic people, so there's also a piece of, like, being able to, like, get out some of the energy that we tend to have, too. But
I'm not one to want to do dishes or laundry.
Right.
I'd rather go get sweaty and move things around.
Yes. And we laugh about that. What'd you give up today to get your workout in? Well, I haven't washed my hair for, like, 3 days. I don't know about you, but...
Dry shampoo is a lifesaver.
Right? In a hat.
Yes.
Let's see. So we've done multiple programs. You and I follow a lot of different things. We've done Comp Train with Ben Bergeron. We've done Invictus. And I want to do a shout out. Dylan Youngman from Wichita, who's a CrossFit regional athlete, is programming for us now. And they've helped us all get to the level of where we're at now. So having good programming, having someone that knows your weaknesses, somebody that can help like push you to do the stuff you don't want to do, help you with form, because even this far in, you know, her and I have both been doing this for a long time, yet we're still learning stuff. Like, I think our discussion topic last week was foot placement on a squat, which way your feet should point, and
bracing your core.
Right, learning how to push through your lower abdominals. But there also hasn't happened without a lot of dedication, commitment, sacrifice, and the ability to work through crazy workout hours and temperatures, because you work 12-hour shifts, so sometimes you do your workouts at 4 a.m., sometimes at 2 a.m.
Yes.
I usually get up at 5 a.m., try to get done before the kids are up. In -6 degrees, I think it's the coldest we've been this winter so far, or 105 degrees, just depends. But we recognize how important it is for our health and for our mental and emotional well-being that at this point in the game, it's just part of our daily routine. Like, it's non-negotiable. But I know people see us at comps and together in public recognize us from social media, and it always makes me smile when people are like, you guys have kids, you're moms too? Like, there's this expectation that once you're a mom that you have to give up that part of your life. And I think at least one of the pushing factors for me, and I think you too, is helping moms realize that doesn't have to be the case.
Yeah.
You know, we still compete maybe once a quarter. It's not like we're going every weekend, but it's something just for us that we can build just for ourselves and do just for us. And
it's okay to be a little selfish. It took me a long time to learn that, and I mean, I think when I became a mom, I realized how important it was to take care of myself. If I can't take care of me, I can't take care of them.
Right.
And I think as moms, we always try to do everything for everyone else, and we need that hour to 3 hours of forget all of that, and it's you and a barbell. And
right. And that's part of the reason why we both have home gyms too, because then we're doing it with our kids. It's not like we're away from our kids while they're in daycare or at another place. They're actually with us and get to be a part of it, and they're not, most times, they're not a problem. They're just part of it, and now they're with us. But every once in a while they yell at you while you're underneath a really heavy barbell, and you yell back, and then they don't understand why you're yelling. But they'll figure it out eventually. But just to wrap things up, like, what would you tell, and you tapped onto a little bit, but like moms like us who are looking to get back into improving their fitness, like what would you say is a starting point or encouragement, like when you started and how you got to now?
When I started, I kind of tried to do everything on my own, and it can be frustrating and it can be lonely. I love that your program kind of emotionally and physically gets people going. It's an investment. If you're not willing to put forth effort, money, and time, it's not going to last long. You're not going to make a habit out of it. You're not going to be dedicated towards it. Once you start investing your time, your money, what you have to offer, I think that's what makes a huge difference. So often people want a magic pill, or they want a magic program for 4 to 5 weeks that's going to change it, not realizing that, gosh, I've been doing this since 2014. Mm-hmm. You've been doing this since
10 or 11.
It's a lifestyle. It's a journey. It's never ending. There's always something to work on. And so I think for all the moms out there that are wanting to start or are unsure about it, I think your programming is a great place for them to start. It eases them in, and it gives you a great foundation. Without a great foundation, it's going to crumble and collapse. There's not a pre-workout. There's not a protein shake that's going to get you there. the hard work that you're willing to put in.
Yeah.
So I think you do a good job of setting people up for success. And
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I think for me, one of the things that I always tell people is just basically giving permission. Like, we post our videos and we post our workouts partly for our own documentation because we can't remember what we've done the day before, for one, but two, just because we want people to see that you can make time for it and you can do it. It all comes down to priorities, and ultimately just giving yourself permission, and that's what we're trying to do, is give other moms permission to do the same. So there's always a day one, and sometimes there's a day one over and over again, but as long as you keep showing up, eventually it becomes a habit and a huge part of your life. So thank you guys for joining in today. Love to know any questions you have for us, anything we can help you out with or direct you towards. Hope you guys are having a great day. We'll talk to you soon.